There is a new reaction for Dune 2021, and it includes plot details, including information on the movie's ending. This comes via a new exclusive interview from a viewer who saw a test screening of Dune, and I will be referencing the source as we get into this video. I'm going to be discussing the new details along with giving my own thoughts towards it. There will be potential spoilers for Dune 2021 in these details, so if you don't want to be spoiled by what the film tackles, then I would recommend watching another one of my videos on the film. Before I get into it though, if you want to keep up to date on any of my future content on Denis Villeneuve's Dune, then don't forget to support this video by giving it a like rating, subscribing to the channel, and turning on your notifications. Also, feel free to check me out on Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and Instagram at Cortex Videos, which is all linked in the description below. But without further ado, let's dive into all the details surrounding the latest movie reaction and analysis for Dune. So according to various leaks and reports, at least 2 versions of Dune have already screened for test audiences, and on top of that, at least 1 version of the script for Denis Villeneuve's upcoming sci-fi film has been leaked online, appearing to back up the details from both test screenings. If you don't want to know how the new Dune movie potentially ends, and just how far this film will go towards adapting Frank Herbert's novel, now is the time to turn away. According to Secrets of Dune in his latest video, which I will link down below, 2 distinct test screenings of the film have taken place, each showing a different ending. Recently, the channel's account manager has spoken to an anonymous source who described in detail exactly what they saw in the screening, and although the individual maintained secrecy to avoid violating contracts, the account believes them to be a legitimate source. If this source is true, then a lot of what we'll see this October has been revealed. Secrets of Dune goes into a lot of details surrounding what was said, but the quick points that follow contain the biggest information from this anonymous source. To start off with, a huge majority of the film will happen before Paul Atreides and his family even get to the planet Arrakis. According to the source, the movie spends a great deal of time before we get to the planet, and we see very little of the Fremen. And speaking of the Fremen, the possible family connection between Dr. Liet Kynes and Chani is not made explicit. It should be noted that Chani is not in much of the film, and it's quite clear that her role will be developed more in the sequel. You wouldn't cast someone like Zendaya to do so little in the film, as the source explains. The sandworms are also detailed to look great and make Lynch's version look like playthings. However, as Secrets of Dune pointed out, the source claimed that nobody rides a sandworm in this movie. This is something I predicted back in a video ages ago, and I think many fans of the source material who get a sense of how much is going to be in this first film also predicted. The riding of a sandworm is prominent in the 3rd book of the first novel, and if the film ends around the Water of Life scene in book 2, then the next film would have the riding of a sandworm very close to the first act of the next one, if that of course happens. This person also went on to claim that they were blown away by Timothee Chalamet's screen presence, and that Jason Momoa's Duncan Idaho steals the show, adding that the same goes for Stellan Skarsgård as the Baron. It makes sense for Idaho's character to be central to the new film, with the potential for more exploration later on in more movies. Princess Irulan and Fade are also claimed to not be in the movie, and if these characters eventually appear in Villeneuve's new franchise, this leak says that won't happen until the sequel. Paul's baby sister, Aaliyah, is also not in the movie, and we know that this is because of where the movie potentially ends and the plot structure of the book and how that applies to this new adaptation. The leaker confirms with all of this information that because of how the movie ends in the way we've predicted previously too, that there must be a sequel. So what happens in the ending? Well, according to the person who saw this test screening, the movie ends after Paul fights Jamis, a Fremen whom Paul is tasked with defeating in order to get himself and his exiled mother into the group of the Fremen people. If the movie does end with this fight, it will basically conclude in the middle of a chapter. However, as Secrets of Dune said in his video, his account manager believes that there are 2 test screenings and that the actual film won't end with the Paul and Jamis fight. Instead, they claim that, like many of us Dune fans have been predicting, that it will end with the Water of Life ceremony, in which Paul is basically proven to be the Kwisatz Haderach. Paul experiences visions of the future towards the end of this chapter, which also make it feel like a good place to end the first Dune film, setting up the insane events to follow. It's at the end of Book 2, just before the jump in narrative time in the Dune story, and applying this to the 2 versions of Dune screened by Warner Brothers, it's likely a case of the studio wanting to determine the best ending for the first film. We have to keep in mind though that the leaker did explicitly say that the test cut of the movie they saw ended with the fight, which takes place somewhere in the middle of Book 2. So we are left on the question of what could be the real endings surrounding both screenings that have taken place. As Secrets of Dune pointed out, the first novel is divided into 3 sections, referred to as Book 1 with Dune, Book 2 with Muad'Dib, and Book 3 with the Prophet. The last section, in which Paul leads the Fremen during a revolution and rides a sandworm, is likely to be covered in the sequel, and this plot leak does very much hint at that being the case. But whether it does end on the fight or the Water of Life scene, there's good reason to be concerned that the ending of this October's first film might leave the audience, both new and also previous fans, potentially confused and wanting more. I personally hope it does end at the Water of Life scene with the eventual joining of Paul and Chani, as it would be logical to set up the events of Book 3 and feel naturally right for the plot. But of course, if it does end at the Jamis fight, maybe Villeneuve and his team have found a way to structure the film differently in a way that works. We'll have to see, but like I said, it is worrying that there are different endings being seen in test screenings. It could just be a test by Warner Brothers, like Secrets of Dune pointed out, but time will soon tell as to what we will see in the first Dune film. But they were all the new details surrounding the plot and ending of Denis Villeneuve's Dune. I think this reaction is trustworthy based on the information Secrets of Dune provided in his video, as it aligns in numerous ways to what we have heard in the previous months. There are a lot of things that will be intriguing to see reactions to when the film releases, but the consistency in terms of viewers being blown away by the production and what Denis and his team have done in this first film shows what we could expect from Dune as a whole. The info on the ending does confuse me, but with Denis behind the project and the attention to detail in his films, this hopefully will be something that is done right come the final product. But I am hoping that we will start to get some more information surrounding the film, alongside receiving a broader range of reactions in the coming months. We'll have to see, but so far, all of these details suggest something interesting for the new adaptation of Frank Herbert's world, and I can't wait to see it on the big screen later this year. Let me know down below in the comment section what you personally think towards this latest interview on someone who has seen the film, alongside your thoughts on all of the specific details that the viewer mentioned. For more videos surrounding Dune leading up to its release this year, then subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating and follow me on social media via the links in the description. I will be covering news and topics for Dune whenever new information comes out, alongside continuing my Road to Dune series very soon, so look out for all of these uploads. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.